Hey guys, it's Natasha. It's been a crazy past couple weeks, but welcome back to Animal Amazement. On this episode, we're looking at parrots. Parrots live in tropical and subtropical regions of the world and belong to this family whose name I can't really pronounce, which includes parrots, parakeets, and macaws. Parrots can live anywhere from 50 to 95 years, and their brain-to-body ratio is comparable to that of primates. They have larger brains than other birds and more communication skills. The regions of the parrot genome that determine when and how the genes for brain development are activated are the same as that of humans. I was first introduced to the intelligence of parrots with a video on Alex, the African gray parrot. Everyone knows that parrots can mimic words and other sounds, but the African gray parrot can associate those words with their meanings and can form and understand simple sentences. Alex had a vocabulary of over 100 words and was trained by Dr. Irene Pepperberg to use those words to identify, describe, and count objects. He could answer questions like how many blue circles with an accuracy of about 80%. This showed that he wasn't just memorizing words and mimicking words, he actually understood concepts, and he even made up a few words of his own. Alex had the intelligence of a 5-year-old child. Another African gray parrot named Nikisi has a vocab of over 1,000 words and can even invent words and use them in the right context and in the right tenses. Gray parrots in the wild have also been observed mimicking other birds, and no one really knows why birds mimic each other, but it's shown that the ones who do score higher on problem-solving tests. All parrots practice social learning early in life. They learn social interactions from dealing with their siblings, and they learn to forage from their parents. They also learn through play, both solitary and social play, and some parrots even play fight to practice predator evasion. A parrot's brain is highly developed for language, relationships, problem-solving, adaptability, and flight navigation. They also understand abstract concepts like same versus different, which Alex demonstrated by labeling objects of different shape, color, and material as the same or different from each other. In one anecdote that I read, a researcher presented a tray of 3, 4, and 6 blocks of different color and kept asking Alex what color 3, and Alex kept saying 5. So eventually the researcher said, okay, what color 5? And he said none. This was surprising because he not only was able to transfer the concept of none from a different test, but he was also able to manipulate the researcher into asking him the question that he wanted to answer. African gray parrots are also altruistic and good at working together. This is important because they live in these large, complex societies with constantly shifting flocks, so they need to be able to build up relationships in case they need help from other birds later on. In one study, a parrot had to hand a metal washer to a researcher in exchange for a walnut, but the parrot couldn't reach the researcher. It could, however, reach a neighboring parrot whose compartment had an opening. So the parrot gave the washer to the neighbor who received a walnut. Even though the original parrot didn't receive a prize, it still acted selflessly. This experiment was repeated, and it was found that parrots with the closest relationships were more likely to do this. African grays aren't the only impressive parrots. Macaws can understand the concepts of left and right and of object permanence. And the monk or Quaker parakeet can learn the names of different things and can put phrases together to convey their messages. Tool use, a sign of high intelligence, can also be seen in parrots. The palm cockatoo in Australia likes to beat a wooden stick against a hollow tree to show his prospective mates that he has his own home and that she can move in. And their beaks are also used to crack open seeds and nuts, and even to peel the skin off grapes. Wild cockatoos in Australia like to disassemble the screws from microwave towers. Finally, an advanced skill that had previously only been studied in humans and other great apes, but that can now also be seen in parrots, is the understanding of probability. In one study, researchers taught some kea, a parrot species from New Zealand, that black wooden pegs could be exchanged for food. Then they filled 2 jars up with different colored pegs and then reached into them and took out a handful of pegs from each jar. Without showing the bird what was in each hand, they had the bird pick a hand. One jar had a higher concentration of black pegs, and the bird almost always chose the hand that had taken pegs out of that jar. This shows that they can predict future events based on probabilities. But they didn't stop there. In a second experiment, the researchers covered up the bottom half of the jars, and the birds went by what they could see in the top half. And in a third study, they used 2 researchers and showed the kea that one of them was more likely to pick black pegs. So the bird was more likely to choose the hand of that researcher, even when both jars had the same concentration of black pegs. This study showed that parrots are able to take social cues from different animals, including humans, and use those cues to make decisions beneficial to themselves. They're also able to learn a broad skill and apply it to different situations, which is an ability that makes humans so smart. So I hope you enjoyed learning about these amazing animals. Please like if you did and subscribe, and tune in next week for another Animal Amazement video.